It's the Putemup podcast with your host, Frank Mordeholm.
I don't understand what's going on here. I'll fight you with my eye.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Putemup podcast, episode number 7, second show of the year, ladies and gentlemen. And today you're in for a treat. We got an amazing show today. We have a pro fighter turned promoter. You're going to want to hear this story. You're going to wonder why he's doing this big move. But ladies and gentlemen, I can't do this show without my co-host, Mr. Patrick Regalado.
Ooh,
What's going on, Pat?
What's up, Mr. Frank? How are you,
Chilling,
buddy?
man. It's cold outside, so I had to stay home and do some more stats.
Staying home and doing stats.
all I
I enjoyed this weather, so I put on the only jacket that I own.
Oh, boy.
Show it off. I put on some boots.
Okay.
And some gloves.
All
and
right.
a little scarf.
All
I
right.
didn't go that far. But
Okay.
I am enjoying this weather, and I did put on the only jacket that I own. But the good thing about enjoying the weather and this time of the year again is that even though it felt like we never left because we did have some activity last month.
Yep.
But you could see all the promoters getting back into it.
Yeah, man.
And all the promotional companies coming back to Florida and talking
Absolutely.
about all the fights. So I'm really excited because we do have a busy month here. We've got some UFC updates, a lot of news happening in the UFC that pertains to Florida. But I'm anxious. I'm anxious to get on with the show that we have on today. Like you said, ex-fighter turned promoter. He will be having his next show. It'll be Friday, January 21st at the Bonaventure Resort and Spa in Weston. Ladies and gentlemen, the promoter for Destiny Fights, Mr. Montreal Grant.
Mr. Grant.
How you doing, gentlemen?
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, man, I can't wait to have this conversation. I cannot wait. This is the conversation I've been dying for, ladies and gentlemen, to get to the inside of a mind of a fighter who wants to be a promoter. And by the way, word is that it's not only he wants to be a promoter, but so far he's been a successful one at that. So let's figure out how he's doing it, what he's all about. But before we get into the business side of MMA, and I told you guys, I said this podcast is going to be about the inside of MMA, what makes MMA, who are those people who are driving this sport in the state of Florida. And when you open up the book of Florida MMA and you figure out these chapters, there has to be a chapter in there, and it's going to be labeled Mr. Montreal Grant. He now has a page in the history of Florida MMA.
Nice.
Before we get into the business side of it and why you want to get into this crazy sport as a promoter, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's Montreal Grant, and I'm from Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay.
And I've been fighting for about 10 years. I fought all the way up until I broke my ankle. So,
Wow.
I needed to figure out what the next step was, and the biggest thing that I decided to do was to step into promotions. Not just fight, but, just have the show myself.
Right.
Because, I felt like I could bring something that, people weren't seeing.
Yeah.
It's a lot to it, actually. When you come from the fighting side, I thought it'd be a little bit easier, but it's not as easy as I thought it was. But all it takes is a little determination, I feel like, and you can pretty much achieve what it is you set out to do.
Okay. So you came from Tennessee to Florida. And now the move was it personal or the move was business? Like the move from Tennessee to Florida?
Well, it was a little bit of both. I was fighting in Tennessee, and I was pretty good at it. I was pretty successful with my career, and I decided to move to Florida to better my career. My coach left Tennessee, so I really didn't trust anybody else with my career and with myself. So we got together one last time. He suggested that I come to Florida. So I came to Florida and I started training with American Top Team in Boca.
Okay.
American
Top Team. So you were doing all MMA, did you?
Yes.
Not just kickboxing or a certain style.
It was all MMA.
It was all that. And then you fought for V3 fights, right?
Yes.
And that was a pro show you were promoting. And back then, I guess, how many years ago were we talking?
That was about 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, back then, I'm not sure if in the state of Florida you have to have like 5 amateur fights before you go pro.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen to you. You automatically went
No,
pro.
no. I went as an amateur, I went 9-2-1.
Oh, okay. So you did amateur shows.
Yeah, I had quite a few amateur shows. Yeah.
Okay. And then from there, you decided to go pro.
Yeah, I decided to go pro because as an amateur, you don't get paid to fight.
Yeah.
But it's no difference in what pros do. The only difference is like amateurs don't get paid for it. You still have the ability to get hurt or damaged or bruised, whatever it is. You still do the same things as pros. The only difference is you get paid for it. So I figured if I was gonna stay on that path, then I might as well get paid for it.
Yeah.
So,
well, let's get down to it, man, because in this podcast, what I want out of this conversation, this candid conversation, is for the promoters to pay attention, for the fans to pay attention. I want this to be almost like an educational type of conversation, because for me,
always is the same way.
Yeah, because to me it's fascinating. My wife will tell everybody, "Hey, I think everything is fascinating," but you're fighter turned pro. So let's start with that. You already know what a fighter wants, right? As from a promoter, you already know how you want to be treated. So you're coming in as a promoter with that knowledge already locked in, right? Yeah. So how do you want to be treated as a promoter? What are you going to offer the fighters in your promotion that may be different from others? Or what did you learn from fighting with the other promoters that you want to change or maybe add to your promotion?
The biggest thing that I've learned as a fighter and a new promoter is that I don't treat the fighters like they're a payday. First of all, it's a unit when you think about it. Like, I can't have a promotion without fighters. I can't have a successful promotion without the fans. So I needed to figure out a way to make all those things work as a well-oiled machine. The minute that you cater to your fighters and you cater to your fan base and you step outside of yourself, then it's easier to see what it is that you need to do to make something better. I feel like, and it's not me talking about any other promotions or anything like that. A lot of promotions, a lot of promoters, I don't feel like have the ability to step outside of themselves. And that's a big key in being successful. Like, you treat your fighters good. You treat your fighters good, your fighters are going to treat you good.
Right.
It's you nourishing and cultivating something. You're building it up to grow. And me as a promoter, I can't grow Destiny Fights without them, without the fighters, without the fans. So all I do is just figure out a way to make all of us work as a unit. You see what I'm saying?
Interesting. And why the word? Why Destiny? Why that name?
Actually, as far as Destiny Fights, it was something that me and my best friend talked about. We it was a promotion that he came up with, but it was more of a seed, right? And when we talked about it, the only thing that I did was take the seed and nourish it. Gave it water, I gave it sunlight, and we grew it. So that's where Destiny Fights came from. I never take credit for something that I didn't do. So like, it was definitely something that, my friend came up with, but what I will say is I did cultivate it and bring it to fruition.
Got it. Yeah.
So,
and that means a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna talk a little bit more about it. We're gonna get deep into the choices you've made from a business perspective, how the show is coming about for Friday. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. Don't go away.
It's the Putemup Podcast with your host, Frank Mortejon.
I don't understand what's going on here. I'm fighting with my eyes.
It's the Putemup Podcast with your host, Frank Mortejon.
I don't understand what's going on here. I'm fighting with my eyes.
Welcome back, everyone. Putemup Podcast. Like, click, subscribe. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts at. Today we're talking to Mr. Montreal Grant, professional fighter turned promoter, doing a show here in Florida on Friday. Destiny MMA, Destiny Fights. Man, we're gonna have this conversation now about the business side of it, man. I can't wait. I can't.
It's a little sticky here.
I can't wait to hear what Montreal is bringing to the table. You know, we already know. I just met him a few minutes ago. Seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. Understands the fight game in itself. He's been a fighter for many years. He went through the channels. He's been through the amateur shows to go pro. He now decides to do a show here in Florida. He's from Tennessee. So when he came to Florida, he decides now to do a show. So, Mr. Grant, tell me, first of all, how's the show coming along?
Oh, the show's coming along great. I got everything taken care of as far as my sponsors and, VIP seating and VIP tables. We're just growing from here.
Nice. Nice. Have you seen what have been your challenges so far in creating an MMA show?
Well, for me, because I really didn't know a lot of promoters or a lot of different gyms. The biggest challenge was finding the fighters, talking to the coaches, meeting the coaches. I don't feel like it was a challenge talking to the coaches. Once I meet someone, then it's kind of history from there.
Yeah.
But the biggest challenge was not knowing anybody or anything about the promotions down here. That was the biggest challenge as far as, me putting on a show.
Yeah. Now, normally what happens is, I did get the phone call. I got the phone call and it was like, hey, there's this guy here in town. He wants to do a show. He's never done one before. And the first thing, of course, that goes through my mind is he crazy or what? Let me talk to him so either I talk him out of it or I get to know him and understand what formula he has in order to make it successful. So here's my gripe. My gripe with this whole thing about MMA is history, right? The history books. Now, Dana White himself was doing MMA for years. And every year, as everybody knows the story, every year he failed. He had to go back to the Faitosa brothers and say, let me get another $1 million. Another year later, let me get $1 million. $10 million later, they said, you know what? That's it. We're done. Let's give up. Let's sell this. This is not making us any money. And everybody knows the story. Hey, Dan Lambert came on board. He was a $6 million man. That was the number. Dana White said, okay, let's sleep on it. Next morning, the Faitosa brothers said, you know what? Let's keep on. We're not selling. We're going to keep on going. But it was only until the Ultimate Fighter show came to where MMA met reality TV that now the table started turning. So that's history. That's what Dana White has shown us, that if MMA by itself without any TV doesn't make any money. So I'm fascinated to figure out, how do you feel or what are you thinking to make this successful when history itself shows us that it can't be?
Well, the cool thing about history is it shows you where you were at a certain point in time. Now, as far as Dana White failing over and over again, he finally got it right. So that means that he had a blueprint that was in place. It's a template for me. I feel like the reason that I am successful so far, and I feel like I'm going to continue to be successful, is because a blueprint just shows you what you can have. You can always add modifications to it. You can always make it better. Now, I'm not saying that I'm going to be better than the UFC. I'm just starting. However, my goals as far as this promotion is to surpass better promotions. Yeah. UFC, Bellator, whoever. The thing is getting out there. Now, with that being said, I don't want you to feel like I'm trying to compete with them, because at this point it's impossible for me to compete with someone on that level. However, I don't feel like it's a competition. Like, that's what separates me from other promoters. Other promoters try to compete with other promoters and say, oh, my show's going to be better than this, my show's going to be better than this. Like, I'm not competing with you. I don't want to compete with you. My goal as far as the promoter of Destiny Fights is to put on a good show for the fans, give the fighters the respect and the honor that they need, the recognition, and to, put on the show that I need to put on. It's not me competing with anybody.
Right. Now you said that a few times, the word competition. You're not competing. But let me just, if I could break down a little bit of reality to it, right? Little sauce, reality sauce, if you will.
I'll take it.
Is that you are competing. You are competing. And the fact that there is a pool of fighters in Florida, right off the bat, let's just say it, you're competing for the fighters. The fighters are in the same pool. Those same fighters are going to XFN. They're going to Combat Quest, Combat Night, you name it. There's about 12, 13, 20 other promotions in Florida that you're competing to get those fighters in order to build your card. So that's where I want to crack you a little bit in that and figure out from your point of view is if that's a step that you have to oversee, if that's a step that a hurdle you have to get over, how do you do that? How do you get fighters that you're pulling from the same pool of fighters? How does Destiny Fights different from the promoters who are already now doing fights, who are already now locked in? We have promoters who actually say, if you don't fight for me, you're not going to be pro. If you're not fighting in my amateur card, don't look for me to be pro. So from that aspect, you are competing against fighters. How do you address that?
As far as that, like my show, I don't feel like anybody has the right to tell a fighter whether they can go pro. Where there's a will, there's a way. There's always a way.
Yeah.
So your destiny, play on words.
Wow, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that.
In anyone's hands.
Nice.
It's yours. You control it, right? So with that being said, I don't think anybody has the right to say that to a fighter. I'd never say that to a fighter for the simple fact that that's not my place. My place is to make that fighter, to grow that fighter, to put him out there. Just like I'm putting my show out, just like the show's going out there. Yeah. The fighter is coming along with me. That goes back to what I said earlier. It can't work without the other. Yeah. So with that being said, I treat the fighters on my show accordingly. I'll never tell you, oh, you can't do this or you can't do that if you don't fight on my show. Oh, you got to sell this amount of tickets. If you don't sell this amount of tickets, you're not going to fight on my show. I never tell a fighter that, for the simple fact that if you have to rely on your fighters to sell your show, what's the point of you doing it? Yeah. Why are you doing it? You see what I'm saying? Now, with that being said, I'm sorry.
No, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
With that being said, like the fighters, me coming from me being an ex-fighter, I know how I want to be treated, just like you said earlier. Right. And I'm not gonna fight for another promotion that's gonna treat me anything less than a man. Yeah. Above anything else, or a woman for that matter. I'm not a woman, but I'm just saying
I got you.
treat someone like they're beneath you, that's not your call to make. You see what I'm saying? So anytime I've experienced it, and I've experienced it, I didn't fight for that promotion again. So that piggybacks off the question, how am I competing for the fighters? Well, the fighters know, and like I got fighters on this card that's told me, like, man, this is like the best promotion I fought on. I hadn't even fought on your promotion yet. Just off the things that I tell them, the incentives, and so on and so forth. Like it's Destiny Fights is bigger than me. Yeah. It's bigger than me, but it is a part of me. It's a part of everyone that participates, from the fans that come to the show, from the fighters that fight on the show. Everybody is Destiny Fights. Yeah. So with that being said, I mean that's what separates me from other promotions.
Interesting concept, and that's what I want to get to. I want to get to that mentality, because you're definitely doing things differently than what I've seen already in the Florida MMA community, and we're gonna get a little bit more deeper into that. But ladies and gentlemen, guess what time it is?
Is it bill paying time?
It's bill paying time. You better figure out how many bills we need to pay, man.
I want to see the paperwork on all that, and I do want to come back and talk to Montreal about the fan perspective.
Okay, let's do that.
From
Ladies
it.
and gentlemen, don't go away. We'll be right back.
It's the Putemup Podcast with your host, Frank Mordeholm.
I don't understand what's going on here. I'll fight you with my eyes.
It's the Putemup Podcast with your host, Frank Mordeholm.
I don't understand what's going on here. I'll fight you with my eyes.
Welcome back, everybody. Putemup Podcast. Check us out on anywhere you get your podcasts, video podcasts on YouTube. Check out the YouTube channel. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking here MMA, the business side of MMA. And Montreal Grant, who's a fighter turned promoter, he's going to do a show Friday, this Friday, right, Pat?
This Friday, January 21st, at the Bonaventure Resort and Spa in Weston, Florida.
In Weston, Florida, right down the street from me. We were talking about the business side of MMA. Now, real quick, Montreal. So here's my thing. My thing is that you fought for a company called V3. Now, V3 is, they've done probably over 70 shows easily, right? They did a show in Tampa, which I was involved in, and not as a fighter, but, behind the scenes. And,
Thought I recognized you.
yeah, you thought you recognized me, right? They haven't done a show in 2 years. And the reason why they haven't done a show in 2 years, because here comes this guy who has this amazing idea and says, you know what, I'm going to take MMA. And this is a lesson to be learned. I really want you to listen up on this one. The guy comes in and says, hey, we're gonna make MMA stock. We're going to make it public. And we're going to go out with this company. And we're going to call it Alliance MMA. And what we're going to do is we're going to buy local promoters. And as we buy these local promoters, we're going to now sell those fighters to the UFC. We're going to build a building block of the UFC. That was their goal. That was their mission, right? To have all these regional events going on, and that if UFC needed a fighter, they were going to go through Alliance MMA. Here's the problem with that. Anybody can do that. The UFC doesn't need Alliance MMA to give them fighters. So right off the bat, their mission statement is bullshit. Like, that is the most stupidest shit I've ever heard. You're going to give fighters to the UFC, and that's why we created all this stuff. UFC don't need nobody. They're as big as anybody can get. They're the biggest show in the world. If they want a fighter, you get Dana White to do a reality TV show, and Dana White on the road. Boom, he's got fighters. All Dana White just needs to go, you're in.
I think pretty much all he has to do is make a phone call.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I want to understand. You fought for a company that no longer exists. This guy came up with this. As a matter of fact, that Alliance MMA company now is a pharmaceutical company.
Yeah.
It's not even an MMA company anymore. Like, that whole thing just went to shits. So in seeing that, do you thrive off of that? Do you learn off of that? Are you motivated off of that? Based on that history, based on that facts, how do you see promotions happening?
Well, based off of that, it's motivation. It's motivation in itself, and at the same time, it's scary too.
Yeah.
The reason that it is because, you don't know what's gonna happen as far as your promotion. The only thing that you can do is push to be better each time. That's my goal, anyways. I always want to be better than before. I apply that once again. That's another thing that I apply to life. I wake up to be better than I was yesterday. Now, with that being said, as far as V3 taking the shit the way it did, I can't justify or explain what happened with that company because that wasn't my company. I had nothing to do with it. I fought for the company, but I can't justify or explain any of that.
Yeah.
I
I don't want you to explain it. Did you learn from it? Do you understand that having an MMA promotion after 70 shows, they make this idea, and they put their investment and money in somebody else, I guess, and it just vanishes. It goes away. Their ROI, probably don't know if they made it or not, but their ROO, which is return on objective, what is their objective of having 75 shows and then gone like that? I mean, did you learn from that? Do you see that? Do you acknowledge that? And
does it worry you?
And does it? You said it worries you.
Yeah.
But what would you do different? What's the game plan for Destiny?
Destiny's game plan is to always try and achieve the next level. So as far as V3, I'm learning from it because in a sense I don't see how it happened.
Yeah.
But on the other side of that coin, I kind of do. Like certain people get to certain levels and they feel like they've done enough. You can never do enough. You can never put in enough work. Dana White's shown that. No matter how much people say, he's an asshole or whatever, like he's shown that he's pushed to be better than he was yesterday. That's why he's successful. People don't look at things like that. I look at things like that. So with that being said, I'm not gonna stop being me because I'm a different type of person. I'm a different promoter. I try and pride myself off being different from everybody else. I don't follow trends. I follow I follow my team. I listen. I follow my heart above anything else. Is that enough to take me to the next level? No, it's not enough. But it definitely plays a part in me achieving the next level. So
let me ask you this then. In that aspect, you had a question?
Well, no, because I'm listening to him speak, and again, obviously, your mind is in the right direction. But while we were off camera, I heard him make a comment that he wanted to make an amateur show with a pro quality.
Yeah.
So, what is that quality? What is that pro quality that you're thinking about? And is that enough to make an impact, especially here regionally, to say, hey, this is the kind of company I want to fight for? The reason I say that is because we have had companies who come in, with a regional company with a UFC feel, and they spend tons of money, and at the end, as you know, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. They're gone, and there's 2 companies I can think of offhand that have done that. So what is that pro quality that you want to bring to your amateur event that's going to stand out and that's going to tell the fan next time, hey, you know what? That was pretty cool, man. I want to go to the next show.
The pro quality that I was talking about, it's not just having amazing fighters fight on the show. It's everything from the pricing of the seats to the perks of a VIP table or a VIP seat. Like all of that it takes place. It goes back.
Give them that experience.
Yeah, I want to give them that experience, and I want to give them an experience that they're not getting from other amateur shows. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You want to fill that void.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, because I hear you also saying that you don't do you look at the competition or no?
Oh, of course. Yes.
You look at the competition.
Yes. I mean, just I go to different shows not to look at the competition. I go to different shows to appreciate the fighters, to appreciate what it is that they're doing, and at that same token, I'm looking at what can this show use. What can this show use? It's missing something. Yeah. It's just like when you cooking something and you taste and it's missing something. What is it missing? Yeah. And that's what I do. That's how I try and make my show better.
Yeah. I think that's important, because if you don't know who your competition is, then what goals are you setting, right? You don't know what goals you'll be setting if you don't know what your competition's at. It's no different than in a jiu-jitsu match. You got first place, second, third, and first, second, and third place. Well, you don't know if you're gonna get third unless you fight your competition, unless you understand the competition, and then you work towards that number one goal, right? So in knowing your competition and knowing the Florida market, how much education did you get with the Florida business itself? Let me ask you this, and should we put him on the spot or should not put him on the spot? Listen, let's
throw him a curveball.
He's been a great guy. He's been a great host. And listen, we want nothing but the best for Destiny MMA. We wish you all the success, and I think part of that is for you to understand the makeup of Florida MMA, the psychology of it, the business structure, the networking that goes on behind the scenes. So if I were to ask you, who's your sanctioning body going to be for your fights, what would that answer be?
The ISKA.
ISK. That's under Corey and John.
Yeah.
Why the
Morrison.
ISK?
The reason that I chose the ISK is because, keep in mind, I'm a new promoter. So I reached out to my coaches. I reached out to my coaches, Jeff. I reached out to my coaches here. I talked to a few different promoters, a few different matchmakers, and because my coach Jeff is over the athletic commission in Vegas, I asked him first. That's my go-to. Like, if I have any questions about anything, like, he does not stop schooling me, and he stays on the other side, almost on the other side of the United States. He continues to educate me, and not only did he educate me as a fighter, but he's educating me as a promoter now. So I feel like I went with the ISK, one, because he told me that was the best option to go with, especially if you want to abide by the sanctioning body rules. The second thing is, I know with the ISK, and that's a big thing. Like, I've learned looking at people's records, that's a big thing. A lot of promotions don't report people's records, and I feel like that's important, especially as an amateur promotion. Like, come on, they put in the work. Give them their credit.
Absolutely, 100%. We definitely have an issue with that.
I saw a smile on Frank's face when you said that.
Man.
But I'm going to make you smile even more because not only did he say the right thing, but if you look at his flyer, it does say amateur MMA, and it does have the sanctioning body on it.
Yeah.
So you'll be very satisfied.
No, I love that. You see, he's already starting off well, man. He's already doing the right things. You know what I'm saying? He's doing the right things, ladies and gentlemen. Promoters, amateur promoters, take a page out of this book, man. I mean, so what you're saying is fascinating to me. It really is, because you have the connection and the people around you that is giving you the right guidance, and it's coming from, not from a selfish point of view, but it's coming from a part where it's experience, where your coaches say, hey, listen, if you want to do this right, get with the ISKA. Now, they're absolutely 100% right. Now, that's not to say that there's some local sanctioning amateur bodies here in Florida that wouldn't do the job as equally as better, but ISK is probably the well-known. They're more expensive,
right?
But that's what you're paying for.
Right.
You're paying for that quality of service, because at the end of the day, they're the ones in charge of making sure your fighters are safe and that the event is run in a safely manner.
Absolutely, and if it's your first time out the gate, it's a great decision.
Absolutely. So you've got the sanctioning body down pat. How many fights do you have on the card?
10 fights.
You have 10 fights, all MMA or kickboxing?
No, it's a mixture of kickboxing and MMA.
Okay.
How many of each?
I have six kickboxing and 4 MMA.
4 MMA.
Yes.
Okay. And what about the schools? What schools have you interacted with in order to make this event happen?
American.
I see you wearing a combat,
Oh yeah.
combat club shirt on there.
Yeah. The reason, all the different gyms that I've been to, the biggest thing that I try to do is show support. So like I try and purchase a shirt. Most of the time they just give me shirts like, no, it's all right. But
that's awesome.
I try to show support to that gym because I'm grateful for them allowing their fighters to be on my show.
Yeah.
But some of the gyms that are on the show, we got Combat Club, as you can see. We got American Top Team Fort Lauderdale. Nice. We got Hard Knocks 365. We got Goat Shed. Right. We got a few independent fighters as well. We have Rock MMA.
Shout out to Rock MMA.
Yeah, shout out to Rock MMA.
We're gonna pick this right back up in a quick second. Okay. Sir, you know where we're going.
Oh man, another time to pay bills?
Another time to pay bills.
Jesus
and make sure
Christ.
you listen to us on all your Spotify and Apple and everything that goes with it. We'll be right back.
It's the Putemup Podcast with your host, Frank Mordeholm.
I don't understand what's going on here. I'll fight you with my eyes.
It's the Putemup Podcast with your host, Frank Mordeholm.
I don't understand what's going on here. I'll fight opened my eyes.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Putemup Podcast. Like, click, subscribe. Check us out anywhere you get your podcasts at. And check it out on YouTube as well. You get this video blog off of YouTube. Share it with your friends. Today we had an amazing show. We're talking to a fighter turned promoter, Mr. Montreal Grant with Destiny MMA. He's got a show coming up on Friday, this Friday, in Weston. Mr. Pat, you got that poster? Let me check out that poster real quick, man.
Make sure that you go ahead and...
Because here's how I judge amateur MMA.
Right.
It's by the poster.
That's a poster. Hold
Let
on,
me
hold
see.
that side right
Let me see what we got here. Nice.
There you go. We want to show that over to everybody here.
Okay, ISKA, there you go.
Amateur MMA.
Promoters, take note. You got the sanctioning body on there, making sure that they understand that it's an amateur event. Now, this is amazing to me. Can I break this down into a science?
Go right ahead.
Can I break this
That's
down?
what we're here for.
This is how crazy I am about
That's what
it.
we're here for.
So you chose a poster that has 2 fighters on the card, right?
Yes, sir.
Now there's some MMA promotions who don't put fighters on the card. It's a generic picture because if those 2 guys don't fight, then the poster doesn't make any sense. You chose to put 2 fighters on the card. Question number 1, why? Question number 2, how committed are they to this organization since it's brand new?
Well, the reason that I put 2 fighters on the card is because that's the main event card. It's sentimental to me because it looked like it wasn't gonna happen.
Wow.
Josh McCardo's one of the fighters on the card, phenomenal fighter. The kids got mad potential. He's going somewhere. But on the other hand, the other kid, Elijah Safford, he's pretty good too.
Man.
Now, the reason that I put them on there is because it makes me feel some type of way because like everybody said, oh, you know, time's winding down. You're not going to find a fighter for Josh, blah, 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 blah. But that's not who I am. I'm always thinking positive thoughts. And not only did I find what Josh was looking for, a guy that's going to challenge him, but like it happened. The thing that people said wasn't going to happen happened.
Wow.
So that's an accomplishment to me. And I feel like it's gonna be a sick fight.
What's the record on these guys?
Josh McCardo is 5-3, and Elijah Safford is 4-0.
Okay. See,
Yeah.
that's a fight.
Well matched.
That's a fight.
Well
So-
matched.
That's
Now,
something that people want to go and see.
You talk about experience, the experience for the fighters, experience for the fans. One of the things that some of the big boys do is take a poster and have, you know, the fighters sign.
Oh yeah,
every
for
poster.
sure.
Are you gonna do that with your fighters? as
Oh
well?
yes, oh yes. I mean the reason that I think it's an awesome idea is because nobody knows what the future holds.
Yeah.
Who's to say one of the guys on the show doesn't go to Bellator, go to UFC and reign?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like that'll be amazing because I can be like, hey, they got fought on my show. You
Yeah.
know, it's cool. It's history.
Absolutely.
You know, so
they could be the next Conor McGregor.
yeah, and the biggest thing is a lot of people don't have that footage. Like, show me a fight that John Jones fought when he was an amateur.
Yeah.
Like I sit up and surf YouTube to find like stuff like that. You don't really see a whole lot of it. It's not saying that you won't see it, but you don't see a lot of it. And I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
You know?
But you know, that's another thing you bring up, man, which I'm fascinated by. So let's say this guy, let's take that example for example.
Okay.
The gentleman on that poster fights for you, and then 2 years down the line, he's now a UFC fighter. And you can look back in his career and say he fought for you. But you can also say that about the other 20 promoters that he fought for before he got to the UFC too. So does that really make a statement if he's fighting for you, or are you just another stepping stone to get to where he needs to get to? Do you see it as a being part of his journey, but not the reason, just a part of it? or do you feel that you would be the reason why he's in the UFC?
Oh no. That's not my credit to give. Of course, me being a promotion, Destiny Fights being a promotion, it's not the reason anybody does anything.
Good.
But it's definitely a part of the journey.
Yes.
I don't mind being a part of the journey. I appreciate it. I pay
Yes.
homage to it, and I'm glad that they took the time to be on my show. They decided to fight on my show because ultimately it's their decision. But my show doesn't make or break a fighter. It doesn't put a fighter to the next level. It's a stepping stone.
Yeah.
And that's what it's designed for. It's not designed to make your career. It's designed to help you along the way. Learn
Amen.
your way.
Amen. I don't think this brother has said anything that I can.
Right.
He's got the right answers,
Yeah.
got the right attitude, he's got the right mindset, which is more importantly. Why such strong conviction? Let's talk about you for a second. Like, why such strong conviction? What drives you to be better every single day? What drives you to have that mentality?
It plays a part. My upbringing definitely plays a part. But to go past that, like, I have a legacy. My legacy are my kids, and everything that I've said tonight is what I apply to my life, and it's the same thing that I push to my kids. You see what I'm saying? So it's always important to be better than you were the next day. Like, you're not perfect. No one's perfect, but as long as you strive to be the best you that you can be, like, that's the best that you can do. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Respect people and you will get respect. Like, I abide by the natural laws of the land. So with that, like, I consider myself extremely humble. Like, I can say that because I am. I don't let anything get to me. It makes me happy, to help people and to see people, grow with me and off of me. Like, it's amazing. Like, it's absolutely amazing. And learning new things is like my thing. I absolutely love it. So, like, it's cool. Just like when I came into your studio, like, this is the first podcast I've ever been on. So it was intriguing to me, like something new, like something I get to learn. So
awesome. And what about your faith? Where do you stand in your faith? Are you considered a religious person? Do you believe in the Lord? Do you believe in God? Where is your faith at? And is that important to make sure you're thriving every single day to be better?
It is important. As far as my faith and please don't get mad at me, Mom. As far as my faith, I believe in a higher power, definitely. I also feel that, like, we are in charge of our destiny. Nothing's another play on words.
There you go. I'm liking it.
Nothing's set in stone. Everything is what you make it.
Yeah.
So if you put out positive energy into the world, then you will receive positive energy. I strongly believe in that. Amen. Like, anytime I hear something negative or someone around me is negative, I don't judge you or I don't tell you, oh, you shouldn't be like that. It's not my place. Yeah. The only thing that I can do is maintain positive energy around me and feed off of it. And if I can feed it to someone else, then that's even better.
I agree 100%.
I think Mom will be proud, so you don't have to worry about
Absolutely,
that.
man.
Right.
Positive energy is where it's at, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know, now you know. But let me ask you this. Are you the type of person that says, things happen for a reason? Are you one of those believers?
No.
And if you don't, why do you think things happen?
I don't that's a double-edged sword because, like, some things just aren't meant to be. But it's a lot of factors that plays a part into that. So I can't say that I'm one of those, well, it happened, because that applies to some things. Some things you actually have control over whether it happens or not. So you can choose, things that you don't have control over, you don't have control over it. Yeah. There's nothing you can do about it. No need to beat yourself up about it or get upset about it. You don't have control over it. But the things that you do have control over, try and make those things work for you as best as you can.
So do you think,
ladies and gentlemen, we just went deep on the Putemup podcast.
So no, I'm still going deep, man. I want to know. So do you think, a follow up to that question? So do you think that Destiny MMA was destined to happen? Do you think that was something that was foreseen in your future? Or do you think that it just happened because it happened?
That's a good question. As far as Destiny MMA, I feel like it was destined to happen.
Okay.
And to piggyback off of that it's because like there are too many things, too many obstacles that I've faced already as far as this first promotion that should have made me tuck and run the other way. But because I chose to push forward and weather through the storm, it comes out as though it's already happened.
Yeah.
Almost a deja vu in a sense, but not really. Like I feel like this was supposed to happen, and I definitely feel like it's my personal feelings. Like it doesn't matter to anybody else but myself, I guess. But I feel like it's here. Like it is here.
But you know what's amazing to that as well is that because you weathered the storm, because you made the decision to go forward with this promotion and carry it, that your actions has also have gotten the fighters to react a certain way too. It's because of what you're doing. You're setting the standards, right?
Yes,
there's
sir.
a standard to fighting with Destiny, and there's a way in which whatever you're doing now affects your decision, affects these fighters, because the moment you say I'm done, that's it, it's over, I don't want to do this no more, it's gonna affect everybody who's under your umbrella. Now we all know that's not gonna happen. We all know, and we wish you tons of success. And from what I'm seeing, evaluating all the promotions that's been here, involved with all the promotions, I rarely sit down with someone who just started and then give them the bad and long and the good, and then walk out of here going, you know what? Nothing's changed. I'm still going forward. I'm still going to make this the best promotion there is. But at least now you're going with a little bit of more ammunition, a little bit more history to say, oh, there was a roadblock and it was made this way. And I think that success comes in different packages, right? And if you ask me, when I asked you the question about are you that type of person who thinks that things happen for a reason, my answer to that is no. I don't believe that things happen for a reason. I think that things happen because they happen, right? That's the bottom line. It's as simple as you could put it. Because you can't explain to me, and I don't want to get too deep in this, but that's interesting, man. That's a great point. But ladies and gentlemen, we got more to talk about. We got to take a commercial break. We got to take a commercial break. We're gonna pay those bills, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Check us out.
It's the Putemup Podcast with your host, Frank Mordeholm.
I don't understand what's going on here. I'll fight you with my eyes.
It's the Putemup Podcast with your host, Frank Mordeholm.
I don't understand what's going on here. I'll fight you with my eyes.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Putemup Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in, watching. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you for listening. If you're listening through all the podcast media channels, I just want to close this up, man, because I think we had a great conversation in regards to the mentality of a promoter, of a fighter turned promoter, and
Of a new promoter,
especially in the state of Florida. Mr. Grant has definitely had the experience to understand what it takes to run a promotion, well-educated. But listen, let me put you on the spot real quick. 20 seconds. Let's put 20 seconds on the clock. You got a show this Friday. In 20 seconds, tell me why I should go. Tell me where it's at. Give me all your social media channels, your website. I need you to sell me that event as a new promoter. You got 20 seconds. Go.
Destiny Fights coming to you this Friday at the Bonaventure at Weston. If you want to get tickets, you want to go to destinyfightsllc.com. If by any chance the website does not work, you can contact me through Facebook, Instagram, Destiny Fights Promotion or Destiny Fights, and I'll respond to you.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. I think he did an amazing 20-second intro right there.
I think it was great. It was great. And the good thing about
made it.
what we're doing is we're going to track you.
Yeah.
We're going to know.
Sure. For sure.
So, and I'm asking
Hopefully
you,
we'll be there.
And I'm asking you right now, we're January. So in December, the first week of December, before everybody starts going on vacation mode, I want you to come back here and tell us how your year went.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was an honor and a privilege to meet you. It's the first time meeting you, man. But great success. We know, and we wish you the best, man. We wish you all the success. You know, I feel good about it because I think you're well prepared. You know, not only mentally, but your team is well prepared. Great focus, dedication, and commitment is off the roof. So thank you, brother, for coming, man, and thank you for adding a chapter in the book of Florida MMA. We look forward to seeing what you bring to the table. We look forward to being at the show, and you know, from what I've heard all today, man, it's gonna be a success.
It'll be great. See
Mr.
you all
Pat,
at the fights, man.
You got anything else, man? You want to close it out the show?
Well, we do have some pretty interesting UFC and Bellator news coming out of Florida.
Cool. Let Mr. Montreal stick around for a second while we go there.
Oh, you hang out with us.
Oh, yeah.
And if you want to,
feel free to throw in some comments.
Exactly, man. You want to throw in some comments, it'll be all good. But I think some of the big news that's coming out now is the Amanda Nunez news.
Yeah.
And it's not the fact that she lost to Juliana Pena.
Nope, that's not it.
It's the fact that she's actually leaving ATT now to form her own gym.
Yeah, man, and that's amazing to me. Now, where, you know, I don't know. I don't know. Like, so you stop learning all of a sudden? Now you become the teacher?
You know, it's funny because a couple of weeks ago, she tweeted something out and said, if you guys think I'm going to leave this way, you're crazy, something going on. So nobody really caught what was going on. When she lost 6 years ago to Kat Zingano, she was with MMA Masters.
Yeah.
She made the change and went to American Top Team.
Yeah.
Where she amassed 12 fight win streak, 6 years.
Yeah.
She loses and makes a decision to change again.
Interesting.
So there has to be something that's in the back of her mind that said, hey, there's a reason why I lost before, and there's a reason why I lost now. She's going to make a change. She said she's not going to leave sideways. Really anxious to see what she comes
I'm going
up
on
with.
record saying she's the baddest female fighter in the world.
Absolutely, most definitely.
She is awesome, man. She's beaten the best, and she continues to be the best. I mean, like, everybody loses, right?
Yeah.
Montreal, as a fighter, you know, of course, he's got an undefeated record. Let me just point that out. He ain't lost yet. But even Hoist Gracie lost. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Right.
You get to play.
So it'll be pretty interesting. You know, George Masvidal just cannot stop being in the news.
Okay.
So, he gets offers from Jake Paul. He's got his own promotion company, does all this. And all of a sudden, the Colby Covington fight comes.
Yeah.
They're going to headline UFC 272, March 5th.
Nice.
Now, here is where it gets a little sticky. Every single person, professional MMA fighter, announcer, sportscaster that you talk to,
Right.
they're saying that this is potentially a career-ending fight
For who?
for Masvidal.
Nah, I don't think so.
Potentially career-ending, that if he loses, it is a career-ending fight. So
Yeah.
the way that I look at it, I don't know if it's a career-ending fight because he's got so many things going on. I mean, if worse comes to worse, he can always fight Jake Paul for $5 million.
Yeah.
You know, he's got his own promotion company coming out. He just partnered up with Whatnot Media to do all the streaming. So he's definitely getting everything in place for life after the UFC and MMA.
Yeah.
But that is what everybody is saying, that this potentially could be a career-ending fight. So we're gonna keep a track on that and see exactly how that goes.
All right.
You know, BKFC, one of my favorite fighters on that is Luis Palomino. He was named Fighter of the Year by the BKFC. Is going to make his 4th title defense, so we're really anxious to see that. I think it'll happen in Tampa.
Yep.
Mike Perry will go ahead and fight Julian Lane.
Knucklemania. Yes.
And a name that we haven't mentioned, I don't think ever before, fighter out of Florida, Gilbert Burns.
Okay.
Looking to get a match with, boy, I hope I say this right. Kiev.
Oh, you screwed that up.
Zamat Kiev. There you go.
There you go.
So he's looking to get a fight with that. Great news also out of Florida. Michael Lombardo. He fought for Titan FC. Been on the Dana White's Ultimate Fighting Show a couple of times.
Yeah.
Fought for PFL. Finally got his big chance. Going to go and sign the couple of multi-fight deal with Bellator.
Yeah,
So I think that's great for him. I think he's a great guy.
Yeah,
You know,
I was fortunate enough to do some of his poster work. Some of these local events and my designing skills. So I got to talk to him and meet him back and forth. And great guy, man. Great personality. Always positive. Always staying focused. Man.
No, I think it's a great thing for him.
Yeah, I wish him the best, man.
Absolutely.
Nothing but the best.
As far as Kayla Harrison, everything is closed on her. Nobody knows where she's going. As you know, the big fight was going to be Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunez.
Right.
That has fallen through.
Right.
Everything is shut. Nobody's talking about who's going to sign her. Is she going to stay at PFL for another tournament, $1 million payday? Nobody knows. But we will definitely let you guys know everything that's going on in the world of MMA.
Well, thank you, brother, for the recap. I greatly appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Today was an interesting conversation, and again, I wanted to go deep into the mind of Mr. Montreal Grant and seeing where he was at from a promoter's point of view, from fighter turned promoter. But just want to let everybody know everything is good. He's got his ducks in a row. His T's are all crossed. His I's are all dotted, and he's willing to make an impact this Friday. Destiny Fights in Weston. If you don't got your tickets, go check it out. Go to the website. Buy your tickets today. You will not be disappointed. It'll be an amazing night of fights. I personally will be there and see history. See history in the making, ladies and gentlemen.
So let me ask you a question.
Yes.
What grade did he get on his report card today?
Man, I think, from let's do a score from 1 to 10.
All right. 10 being the best.
He's got a 9.
A 9.
He's got a 9.
A 9.
Yeah, and the reason why he didn't get a full 10 was because there was a question which I didn't ask, and I'm sure if I asked it, he probably wouldn't have had the answer for it. So I'm going to hold back on that question, and that's why I'm giving him a 9. Now, we could try him. We could try him right now and ask the question and see if he gets it, and he'll turn it into a 10.
30 seconds.
All right.
To ask him that question and get it answered.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a tough question. This is a tough question, so if he gets it wrong, do not blame him for it. He's fairly new. Question is to make a score of 10 points. Ladies and gentlemen, 10 points. Who is the Florida Boxing Commission director? Do you know the name of that individual? And the reason why I say it is because those are the people who are overseeing the ISKA. In order for the ISKA to do their job, they are overseen by the Florida Boxing Commission. Now, if anything goes wrong, you need to have that contact. You need to have that relationship building. You need to know who that person is. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if he does not know the name, do not fault him for it. He's brand new. He doesn't know, but I guarantee you that the night of his show, he will definitely know his name.
I think he'll know it 10 minutes after he leaves this show.
Oh, okay. All right. So let me rephrase the question then. Do you how much interaction? I'll ask it this way. How much interaction have you had with the Florida Boxing Commission itself?
Are you talking about Corey?
No, that's the sanctioning body, which is an amateur ISKA sanctioning body.
I haven't had any interaction with the boxing commission.
With the boxing commission. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Now, normally, it's an amateur show.
Okay.
So you don't have relationships with the boxing commission. They oversee Corey and John with the ISKA. That's their job. But having that relationship with the boxing commission only sets you up for success when you turn pro. When there's a pro show that you want to do, where there may be a situation where you and Corey and John are having a disagreement and somebody needs to figure it out, then you make that phone call. It's not what you know, it's who you know. So, but yeah.
The nine states.
The nine states.
All right.
But it's a damn good 9 for us.
Hey, come on. I was surprised.
I love the fact that his poster's on point.
Yeah.
It's not made, doesn't look like a 9-year-old did it with a crayon. That the sanctioning body's logo is on there like it's supposed to be. ticket sales, how much is a ticket going for?
General admission tickets are $50. The cool thing about the general admission tickets are they're first come, first serve. Like the seats aren't.
Right.
You get there, you get the front row.
Nice. I love those. I love to get there first. Boom, you got great seats.
Nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Please check us out on YouTube channel, Putemup Podcast. Find us anywhere you get your Spotify, Apple, anywhere you get your podcast from. We're there. On behalf,
you can go to
anywhere.
Yeah, well, YouTube and see us live if you want to see us
go
do
check out the YouTube
all
channel.
the stuff that we do here.
Yeah, on behalf of Mr. Montreal Grant and Mr. Patrick Regalado, this is Putemup Podcast. Put 'em up or shut up, and we'll see you on the next one.
It's the Putemup Podcast with your host, Frank Mordeholm.
I don't understand what's going on here. I'll fight you with my eyes.